Hey, what's happening, everybody? My name's Abdul Omer, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm starting this channel to kind of use my experiences, things I've learned in life, and things I've read, or just anything I've picked up throughout my 27 years, and kind of use that to give back and help others. In this video, you're going to hear me talking about intuition or gut feeling a little bit, and that's what this is for me. Whatever may be going on in my life, whatever I'm doing, wherever I am, there's always this little voice inside my head that tends to tell me that I should help others or give back, or in some way, shape, or form I feel I have a message that could help others, or I have a different way of understanding that could help others. So this is my attempt to kind of finally get the ball rolling on that, and instead of just thinking about it and thinking of all the positive outcomes, thinking of all the negative outcomes, getting lost to thinking about the negative outcomes, I'm trying to take some action and just get the ball rolling on it. And the way I'm going to go about doing these videos, at least in the beginning, is I'm generally going to have like a quote or two from a book, or a little passage from a book, something that I took away from it, and kind of my understanding or my thought process with whatever that quote or passage may be, and just kind of break it down for you guys in a way to help others understand it, and kind of explain to you guys how I may implement it, or how I may use it in my day-to-day life to help me, and maybe that's something that could help you. So if you feel like this is a type of video that you want to stick around for, or you want to see what's up, sit down and let's do this. So the book that I have here with me today is called Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Nguyen. And the quote that I'm going to be, talking about here right now is, "Thinking is the root cause of suffering." Now, when I say thinking is the root cause of suffering, or when Joseph says thinking is the root cause of suffering, this doesn't mean not to think. Thinking is good and it's beneficial when it's related to a goal or a task, not when you're just aimlessly thinking and just kind of sitting in your head processing all these different thoughts that you have and breaking them down further and further. You want to leave space in your mind for intuition and your gut feeling to come through. When constantly thinking, we keep our mind full and our mind busy, and we don't leave space for natural thoughts or intuition to occur. One thing that you can do that helps me is, instead of thinking, you try to have thoughts. Thinking generally starts out in the form of a thought, which we take and we break down and go deeper and deeper into it. And instead of going deeper and deeper into it, let yourself have a thought, have that moment with it, and move on to whatever the next thing is. You don't have to move on to the next thought that comes, because you might not have one right off the bat. But whatever you're doing in your day-to-day, alright, you thought about it, you understood it, you felt it, you gotta move on. Thoughts are generally in the moment, like, just a quick burst of energy that comes to you, a quick message that comes to you in your head or something. Like I said, you just gotta process it and you gotta move on. But when you start taking those thoughts and you start breaking them down and going deeper and deeper, start analyzing them, people tend to get locked in on just what the thought is and not taking any action around it, whether that may be the thought leading to negative thoughts, or whether it leads you thinking negative thoughts about the outcome of whatever it may be, or the result of whatever it is you are stuck, whatever it may be that you're going through. When you take it and you keep breaking it down further and further, eventually you're going to get to the negative aspects of it. And when you do that with your thoughts and you get lost in that loop of thinking about things, you're going to get to the negative thoughts about it, and eventually it's going to prevent you from taking action. And it's just going to keep you in this loop of always thinking, never taking action, and never seeing what could happen. Because when you're thinking and you think of the positive and the negative outcomes may be what you're fearful of, or you're afraid of those negative outcomes becoming your reality. But by never taking action and never getting that ball rolling, you don't even give yourself a chance for the positive outcome, which again, that's what I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel, of finally just getting the ball rolling, get at least one video out right here, maybe another one afterwards, hopefully get my own thing going, and let's just see what can come of this. What I've been trying for myself for the last 2 weeks is, I tend to repeat the phrase, thinking is the root cause of all suffering. That's what they tell us in the book. That's what Joseph mentions in the book to try as well. It's something as simple as just, if you notice yourself thinking about a lot of things, you can feel your own energy, your own emotion change. And when that happens, just remind yourself real quick, thinking is the root cause of all suffering. I tend to do it anywhere from like 3 to 5 times, and if it doesn't help within the first 3 times, by the 5th time, I'm generally thinking about something else, or I'm having a different thought, or my feelings are starting to change. The way that it goes for me is normally when I'm repeating it to myself after a few times of repetition, I tend to start feeling this wave come over me of kind of like, why am I letting myself do? It's like you get like a little sheepish grin on your face, and it's like, why am I doing this to myself? If I'm aware of it, why am I putting myself back in that same thing, or back in that same situation of, I guess, being hurt by my own thoughts, by my own emotions, And normally for me, if like let's say I'm just sitting on the couch watching TV, browsing social media on my phone, I'll have a negative thought loop. I'll start thinking about like, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I'm not doing this, which is why that's not like that, or the reason I don't have this is because I don't do this, and this. And instead of taking any actions of the things I'm thinking about, I just get caught in that loop of thinking myself into a deeper hole. So in those moments when I go ahead and I start repeating to myself a few times, thinking is the root cause of all suffering, and I start reminding myself of things I've read in this book and other books, or just different life experiences, it generally stops that negative thinking loop that I'm in, and intuition comes in, and just this voice inside me tells me, go do this, go do that, put your time here, put your time there. And for the most part, it'll be like just things that could benefit me, like again, making this YouTube channel. If this goes in a positive way and it helps other people and people enjoy these videos, it's only going to come back to help me too. So, like I said, when you get caught thinking, when you're stuck in that loop of thinking, you generally get afraid to take action because of all the negative outcomes. And if you don't ever take any action, you're never going to know what positive could have came from it. Of course, just like everything, there's going to be negative outcomes, but by never taking action, you never give yourself a chance to make those positive outcomes reality. And by just sitting there thinking about everything, you end up making all those negative thoughts become your reality. There is definitely times where I go ahead and I remind myself thinking is the root cause of all suffering, and I try to get myself to stop thinking, or get myself lost into whatever the next task was, whatever my intuition came and told me to do. And I've noticed that most of the time it works in just getting me distracted, or it works in filling up my time and I'm not sad, I'm not thinking anymore, and I'm having a more positive outlook on life. But if for whatever reason it doesn't go that way, it's okay to pivot, it's okay to switch it up and maybe do something different. If you give yourself a chance, your body will tell you again, okay, maybe if this isn't it, this is another thing you can do. If this isn't it, this is something else you can put your time into. And don't be afraid to go ahead and switch it up. Just because that's not where your mind is at right now doesn't mean you need to force yourself to go through it. Come back to it, be cognizant of the fact that you did leave that task that you have to do. And like I said, just come back to it and do what you have to do. Take some action, get that ball rolling, and little by little, it's just gonna snowball, like a snowball. It's just gonna get bigger and bigger, and eventually it's gonna become a habit for you, and it'll be a positive habit that helps you move forward in your life. Things I've noticed are when I do take the action, if I'm sitting on the couch browsing social media and that thought and that thinking loop, then whenever I do take the action and I go and start doing whatever my intuition was telling me to do, I generally feel better, I feel happier, overall it's like a positive impact on me, where my mood is better, I'm nicer to those around me, I feel more awake and more alert as opposed to feeling groggy and tired and kind of bored and sluggish, I guess. My head isn't as cloudy, I'm more consistent in my moods, where like normally I can be happy and fine chilling by myself, but when I go by somebody else and just keep thinking about all the stuff that I didn't do at home or whatever, I kind of take it out on those around me, and that's not good. No one wants to be around those types of people. That's not good for you, that's not good for the people you're around. So what I've noticed that by implementing this simple change, it just makes me a better version of me. Whenever I have those thoughts whenever I remind myself thinking is the root cause of all suffering, and I try to put my energy and my attention into a different task or into just taking care of whatever I have to take care of. If that isn't where my head is at and it's not working for me, I'm okay with trying to go ahead and distract myself for a little bit, whether that may be like, playing a little bit of Xbox or watching a YouTube video or something. Just something to kind of get the ball rolling of switching it up. But you have to remember that you can't just sit there and stay in that loop again, because if I'm playing Xbox, I'm playing video games, or if I'm even in a task where I'm forcing myself to do something I don't want to be doing, my body and my mind are going to tell me this isn't where you want to be putting your time right now. And the more you force yourself into that, it's just going to start that same process again of you sitting there thinking and just focusing on thinking and all the negative thoughts that come with it. You're not going to be taking any action. And just because I got up from being on social media and watching TV and all that, and I came here and started doing something, because this isn't what I want to be putting my time towards, this isn't what I want to be putting my energy into, it's not going to bring me that same happiness. So it's okay to pivot, it's okay to switch, find what works for you, and it may not even be repeating it to yourself all the time. For me, that works. You might be someone who needs to go ahead and leave like little post-it notes sitting around your office, or wherever places are that you frequently go to, the fridge, the kitchen. If you're a type of guy like me where you spend a lot of time in the bathroom, leaving little reminders in places that you are in often will help you be able to make that change. Because for me, I'm able to remind myself about thinking is the root cause of all suffering, but you might get lost in the loop in the beginning and not be able to take yourself out of it and have those thoughts. So find what works for you, do what you need to do, and just remember that if you're always thinking, you're not taking action, and if you're not taking action, you're just making those negative thoughts that you're having become your reality. By taking your action, you're giving yourself a chance to make those positive outcomes become reality. But the main thing is, whatever you do, you got to stay consistent with it. Find one route and be consistent. If you're like me and you're consistently overthinking and getting yourself lost into that loop of negative thoughts, then switch it up and try the opposite for a bit, and you might just see that it could be the change that you needed. Alright, one other thing I want to do with these YouTube videos is also have like a motivational part of it, I guess. I used to do this thing on Instagram before called Morning Motivation, where every morning I would go ahead and take a motivational quote that helped me or something I saw recently and kind of break it down and help people in my story have a better understanding of it. My fear, my negative thoughts, or me getting myself lost in that negative thought loop is what made me stop it. So I figured this is a nice way to bring it back, because people have been asking me to do it often. Whenever people see me that I haven't seen in a while, they tend to bring this up and ask me to continue doing it. So I figured this is a way to take care of both things at the same time. The motivational quote that I want to talk about today is, "With hardship comes ease." Just because times are hard at this moment does not mean it has to stay that way. Before things got hard, they were easy, or at least easier at some point. Now, whatever the new circumstance may be, it could have you feeling lost or confused and not sure what to do or how to make your next move. It's probably you're in some new unfamiliar territory and you feel out of place. So you're always thinking about, should I do this, should I do that, should I move this way, should I move that way? And you're always focusing on the negative aspects of it, which is why you don't want to make that change or make that move. But whatever you were doing before things got hard and you would consider that to be easy, that started off as being hard at one point too. For me, for example, going to the gym. Getting up and going to the gym, making that a consistent habit of making sure that I'm there in the gym every day or the days that I need to be. In the beginning, it was really hard. I would rather go out with my friends. I would rather stay at home and watch the basketball, play video games with my brother. There's a lot of things we'd all rather do, but you have to do the things that you need to do. And little by little, as I would start going to the gym and making it a habit of just showing up or just being there, I started noticing the positive effects of just seeing the people around me working out, seeing people around me doing things. By watching them, it made me be like, if these people are all here doing all these things. So you see all people of different shapes, sizes, colors, everything. So you see all different types of people there, and if all these different people can come to this one place with that one goal of making themselves better, why can't I do it, you know? And that's around the same time that I heard this quote of, "With hardship comes ease." just because something's hard right now doesn't mean it needs to stay that way. You have the power to go ahead and make it easier. Anything you've done in your life, starting school, starting a new job, trying to buy a car, saving money, whatever it may be, it's in the beginning, it's always hard. But when you put in that time, you put in that work, you stay consistent with it, it becomes easy. So don't get lost thinking that life is so hard for me, life is never going to get better, or just keeping yourself in that negative thought loop. Just remember, with hardship comes ease, and as long as you go ahead and you put in that effort, you put in that time of taking some action to make your life better, to make your situation better, that hardship will turn to ease. But again, you have to stay consistent. It's just like taking any type of medication. Your doctor's going to prescribe you something that you have to take two times a day for like 2 weeks or something, and there's a reason they have you do it that way. For you to get the full effects, for you to reach the full benefits of taking that medication, you need to make sure you're taking it as often as prescribed for the duration that it's prescribed for. If you miss a day or two, we might think, oh, it's just a day or two, it's not going to make that big of a difference. But those little changes are the ones that make the big differences. Like a little change of changing my thought process from letting myself always think, being stuck thinking and just caught in that loop. I changed the thought process to now, when I'm caught in that loop, I remind myself thinking is the root cause of all suffering, and little by little it's helped me change in just this past 2 weeks. So just remember, thinking is the root cause of all suffering. Don't be afraid to take action. If you want different outcomes in your life, if you want positive outcomes, you have to do something for those positive outcomes to happen. If you sit around and do nothing, chances are the outcomes that you have will be negative. So don't be afraid to take action, and with hardship comes ease. Just because things aren't easy right now, because they may be hard, may be difficult, and you might not like the way life is going, doesn't mean it has to stay that way. You have the power through action to go ahead and make that change. For everybody, it'll be different. This person might get out of the hardship sooner than you. This person might get out of the negative thought loop sooner than you. But as long as you get the ball rolling for yourself, little by little, you're going to get traction, and you're going to make that progress and make that change for yourself. So I hope this video helps you guys. I hope there wasn't a whole lot of me rambling. Let me know in the comments below, whatever else, if you guys want me to elaborate or make a follow-up video on this and just explain anything further for you. If there's anything you guys would want me to talk about, or any ideas you have for future videos, again, let me know in the comments below. Other than that, comment, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you guys in my next video. Peace.